Okay, yay. Hi. Hi everyone. Um I felt like streaming today. I felt like streaming randomly. I want to work on this new project. So we're just gonna work on the new project. That is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it and we're gonna have fun. And if people show up, that's great. If people don't show up, that's also fine. Um, Let me just adjust this. Is this there? That's good. Okay. Okay. So this pattern is from the Oxford Company. It's called Oval Lake View. You can get it for free on the Oxford Company website. And if you type exclamation point pattern in chat, um, you'll get like a direct link to it. So definitely, if you want this pattern, you can go get it for yourself. But I'm using this as a de-stash opportunity because I want to turn this into a pillow. That's what I want to do. So yeah. I tend to film my de-stash diaries episodes off camera, like not live, so like just on my own. But I was like, if I'm gonna be punching anyways, it would be fun for people to like come and like see the process and just like hear me talk through this. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're gonna start off with this, and we're gonna start from the back to the front. So from the background to the foreground. So what I'm going to get started with is this sun, and I have this yellow yarn here that I've hand dyed, and I'm finally getting some use for it. So we're gonna use it for that. Um, and there's a couple of variations on how you can do this pattern. If you check out the pattern page on the Oxford Company website, you'll see that there's like the Oxford Company version, and I believe there's another Oxford instructor who punched their own version with a little bit of variation. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna just make my own variation on it. And I don't really have like I don't have a color scheme that I thought out or anything. I'm just kind of gonna wing it and see how it goes. So we're gonna get started. And oh, I should say the punch needle I'm using is the Oxford, I don't know if you could see it, Oxford 14 fine. So the smallest of all the punch needles, it creates the shortest loops. And even though it creates the shortest loops, it's actually a fan favorite of many. It was actually the first punch needle I got. This and the Oxford 10. Let's start over from here. I think that's better. I don't even know if anyone's in chat, but if you are watching, how's your day been so far? Mine has been pretty good. I got a couple of things done this morning, and then I ate lunch, and now I'm doing this. So I'd say good. Good but busy. I think I'm going to be busy for all of October. Actually, I should say for the rest of the year, because I have, well, if I told you how many ongoing projects that I had and just like videos that I'm working on, you'd be shocked. But I had to pick up a few things. I have to pick up a few things tomorrow for a new project that I'm working on. And it's a seasonal project, so it's definitely on the top of my priority list. So I'm definitely gonna have to go grab that stuff. Fun thing, in the original version of this pattern, this is um this is punched as the moon. I'm switching things up a little. I'm making it the sun. Actually, depending on how you punch the sky, this could also be the moon. Like the moon could be yellow. That's not like that's a thing. But no, not for this one. This is the sun. So I'm spacing the stitches of this out, as you can see in every row that I make, just so that the yarn doesn't get too crowded. Because if it gets too crowded, like it kind of like it's like it becomes too crowded, and your whatever you're making tends to bulge a little, and you don't want that to happen. You want everything to be filled in onto your monk's cloth, but you don't want it to be too filled in. Okay, there we go. We can take this and then poke these ends right through to the other side. Perfect. And I think the variegation of this yarn worked in my favor a little bit because you could see here the darker parts are on the inside and then the lighter parts are on the outside, which is good. That's what I was kind of going for. So I'm glad that I'm glad that worked out. So let's take a look here and see what we can do next. So to highlight the fact that this is the sun, what I'm thinking is I'm going to do a little bit of white here on the outside here, just to give off the impression of like the sun shining. Like the light is coming from the sun, as opposed to the moon, which is like light reflecting from the sun. So let's do that. Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this yarn off here a little bit and then use some of this lighter part to highlight the outside. And I'll also use a little bit of white as well. I think that'll give a good effect. Um, Maybe I should draw a few guidelines on with pencil. I think that would be a smart idea. So something like that. Hold on. I need to I need to take a look at it from this angle here, just so I can see if I'm doing it right. Uh, Actually, yeah, this is good. This is good. Maybe something like that. What do we think? Ah, who cares? I think it'll work. So let's thread this through. Um, so I do want a little bit of sky to be there. So hmm, I think this is fine. It should be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That looks cool. So yeah, we'll continue with a little bit more of this light yellow, and then we'll do the outside parts with white. I think that'll look cool. Um, let's see. Let's take a look. Okay, let's continue. The yarn's getting dark again. So let me see. If we can find a bit of a lighter spot, I'll cut some off, but we can start from another end here and see how that goes. Um, actually, yeah, I can start from this end on this side instead of doing the center pull. That way we cut off way less yarn. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. 'Tis the one advantage of a variegated yarn. You can take advantage of all of the different shades of each color. Actually, I should say values. That's maybe the right terminology. There we go. Snip it off and um oh yes, this one. This is what we have to do left. Um there we go. Just a little bit more slack. There. Perfect. Push these ends right in. Wonderful. Look at that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do these outer kind of rays in white. By the way, for those of you that don't know what yarn I'm using Briggs and Little Heritage. It's a weight 4 worsted weight yarn. Works perfectly with the Oxford fine needles. And very, very cheap, especially when you compare it to other other yarns at, like your local art yarn store or wherever. Um, okay, so let's continue. This is the last little sun ray that we're gonna do. There. Perfect. But yeah, like I mentioned, this is going to end up becoming a video, this footage, for my next episode of D-Stash Diaries. Has anyone watched the most recent episode? I think it kind of slayed, but I don't know. The views have been kind of wonky, so I always wonder. Okay, so we've done our sun, which is awesome. What we're gonna do next is the sky, and I have a feeling this is gonna take a while, so we're gonna get started on it today because this is a fairly short stream. It's gonna be a fairly short stream. So we're just gonna work on it. And we have a bunch of yarn to help us do that. And a variety of values. Same color, different values. So from darkest, second darkest, third darkest, and fourth darkest. I hand dyed these like a while, like a long, I want to say like 5 or 6 months ago for a different project, and I still have like a bunch left over. So we're gonna continue. We're gonna use them up, and we're gonna continue with the Oxford 14 fine. And here's my idea. I should maybe like vocalize my thoughts here a little bit. So what I want to do is have the lightest blue here and then kind of spread out into the darker and darker shades as we move out, like as we get further away from the sun. And I think that makes sense. I have a very limited knowledge of light and shadow and how those work. I struggle with it, but I think that works. And we kind of want to stagger it out so that it looks like natural. So something like this would be the lightest, and then it would go second lightest, and then third lightest, then yeah, one, two, three, four. I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. So why don't we get started on that? Or actually, maybe it might be a good idea to do the border first. It might be a good idea to do the border. So let's do that. We'll do the border in some color. Oh my gosh, I can't think of what color I want to use. Um, Maybe what I'll do as a space keeper, I'll do it plain white, and then if I want to change it, like I can just change it later. I think that sounds good, right? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Um, Let me grab some white yarn and I will be right back. Let's grab some white yarn. There we go. We have some white yarn here. And what we're going to pair that with needle-wise is the Oxford 8 regular. So the longest needle that we have. So we started with the shortest needle, now we're going to move to the longest needle. And I'm very okay with using this white yarn as a space keeper because like I use white yarn so much, like even if I like take this out and it turns into another like scrap for me, I'll easily be able to reuse that scrap. So that is totally fine by me. So what we're going to do is thread our needle and get to punching. Let me just, let me just grab a sip of water. Okay, let's get started. It took me a while to stretch this pattern out onto my fabric because stretching out an oval is kind of a challenge to get it like the exact shape you want it to be. I think I did okay here. I did my best. There we go. I think I'm gonna have to lift this up a little bit so that my punch needle doesn't hit the table. There we go. Nice. This frame that I'm using actually is a travel frame. So you can, once you're done punching or whatever, you can take it apart and then store it very compactly. But that also means that it has less depth to it compared to like a normal gripper frame, which makes punching with like a longer needle like this one a little bit of a challenge. There is a solution to this that I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking about making another video. Like I made a video last year on like weird punch needle supplies that I use, and I have an idea about one that I want to show. I have an idea for a part two that involves a solution to this problem. I'm thinking about making it, but then I need more items to like add on to my list. So I won't be making that until I have like a good solid list of like items to showcase. Because I'm not a fan of promoting things to my subscribers or viewers that I don't like personally use or like agree with, which is why I'm so brutal with the cheap punch needle kits that I review. I'm like, guys, these are horrible. You shouldn't be using these. And then everyone's like, Brenda, blah, 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 blah. Like, you didn't have to be so mean about it. But I'm like, well, I don't like them. Turn this over. Oops. There we go. Turn it over to continue punching. Should I put some music in the background? Would that help? Last time I went live, I did have some background music, but everyone was like, no background music. You could turn it off. And I was like, okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good so far. I think our stitch spacing is about right. The only problem is that this needle is so long, so I have to hold up my frame like this. It's fine though. You should see me punching with the Craftsman needle, like the super, the adjustable old punch needle that I have, because its longest length is like they have settings like the Oxford. Their settings are labeled like the Oxford needles, and the longest setting is the number one setting, and it's like as long as like my as long as my hand, I think, or maybe like that much. It's still pretty long, and it's hilarious to punch with it because it's like me holding up the frame like this, like at a really, really steep angle and trying to punch. It's really funny. Um, yeah. The reason why I wanted to do this pattern specifically for my D stash was because I haven't done a lot of circular things. Like my very first video on this channel was me making a circular rug, and then I have another video of me making another circular rug, but generally I don't make a lot of circular things. So I was like, let's go back to that and let's take it a step further by making it an oval because we haven't done any oval things before. So I thought that would be like a pretty cool idea. I'm trying so hard to get my stitch spacing right. I mean, it's fine if it isn't perfect. We can take it out and redo it. But if I can get it, if I can do it well the first time around, like certainly that's much more preferable. Let me get some more slack on my yarn. There we go. Let's continue. Can you guys hear that outside? Sorry, my setup is near a window and I can hear like trucks or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to find out. We got all sorts of noise in my neighborhood. A few nights ago, like my family and I, we were going to sleep and we woke up with this like we weren't like asleep, but like we were startled by like loud noises coming outside of our house. And we looked outside and it was a bunch of high schoolers filming TikToks on the street. It was really funny. And I mean, it sounded like they were having a good time. So who am I to take joy away from the youth? Um, well, give me a second here. Those of you that are wondering what's what's on the side of my what's on the side of my fabric here, it's like masking tape. This is like my quick fix instead of doing like a zigzag stitch on the edge of my fabric, just because I just couldn't bother with it today. I was like, I don't feel like bringing out the sewing machine and zigzag stitching everything. So we're just gonna tape all of our edges. And that's how we ended up where we are now. I think it's fine because I don't plan on moving this around on my frame or anything. So, like, I think this is a pretty solid quick fix. Um, there we go. We're almost done. This was not my plan for this stream. I planned on just doing the sun and the sky, but then I realized I'll probably need a border or something just so I can space everything out correctly. So that's how we ended up where we are right now. Wait, something about this looks wrong. Something about this looks really wrong. Yeah, yeah, there, that's better. I respaced my punching, for those of you that couldn't tell. I respaced it like half a stitch down, or like half a hole down, and it looks way better. Okay, we're gonna turn this there. Um, just wanna make sure that everything is good. Okay, let's continue. final stretch of this border. Okay, we're almost done. Um, actually, that looks kind of weird. There. I think that's better. Okay, perfect. We are done the border sleigh. Cut off our yarn, poke it through on the other side. We might keep this, we might take it out. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. My priority right now is more so getting the inside done versus the outside. So we're gonna do that. So let me go back to let me get this yarn out of the way. Let me go back to my Oxford 14 fine and my lightest shade of blue. I'm gonna unravel a whole bunch of this so we have a lot of slack because we will need it. So let me just maybe, yeah, I think that looks right. And if it doesn't look right, well, it's a learning opportunity. Just gonna make the lines a little darker with my pencil. Okay, this is doable. Okay, you know what? Maybe we'll just because I'm worried about this coming out, light sketch and Sharpie. There we go. Okay, I like that. That looks that looks promising. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from here maybe. Or actually, hmm, what I might do is outline these first. I'll outline the sun and the rays, and then I'll move out. Yeah. Yeah, this makes sense. I think this yarn is also a little bit variegated. I don't know, it's been a while since I dyed it, so I can't remember what I did to it exactly. But I feel like it does have a little bit of like a variegation. Nice. Um, let's start here. There's a little bit of like there's a tiny space here that's good to branch off of. Yeah. Yeah, that looks sick. Normally, I don't flip my frame around this much, but I'm doing this thing. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I don't know if you can tell where I'm not trying to show my face. So I'm trying to to not show my face, I have to punch at an angle that's like more comfortable and accessible for me. So that's why I keep flipping my frame around. When I'm punching off stream, I don't really flip my work around. Sometimes I do, but I tend not to. And then the parts where you can see my face, I just edit them out while I'm editing my videos. Just a little bit of a behind the scenes look into how I do my punching. Uh, there we go. Snip off our end here. Um, actually, instead of like a something that spreads out like that, it might be interesting to just keep going on with this like circular motif and kind of whoa, what happened? That was weird. I don't know what happened. But anyways, I was saying that expanding on this kind of circular motif would be pretty cool. I just have to figure out the right way to do it. Let's flip our work around again. Uh, Hold on. Something is tangled. Uh, there. Okay, we continue. Mm, okay, I think this is fine. Something like this. Maybe we'll end it off right here. And so what I'm thinking now is maybe like a little bit of the next lettuce shade. So take some of this and then you can add little spots like here and there. I don't know how it's gonna look. We'll find out. So like that. Then where did we draw the other one? Oh, it was like here. Okay, we can do that. Or actually, do we think is that the wrong shade? Actually, no, it's the right shade. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's continue. And then we'll go back to this next darkest shade of blue, or next lightest, slightly darker. This is the biggest advantage of Oxford punch needles, in my opinion. It's the fact that you can switch colors so easily. Like if I was using a different punch needle, like this process would take me so much longer. Um, there. There we go. Um, does that look right? No. Okay. That's better. There we go. And I'm continuing in the same hole that I left off on. Just so when I snip my ends off, like you won't it'll be like a seamless finish. I'm gonna take this, snip it off, and then fill this last little bit in with this blue. It might help if I zoom in a little. Should I zoom in a little? Uh, Give me a second here so I can zoom in. Oh, that's better. That's way better. Yeah, this is good. So everyone can see properly. Sorry for the weird manual zoom in. I don't I'm not filming on a camera. I don't have a DSLR or anything. Not yet at least. Um so this I'm filming all of this on my phone. Like this is my phone right now. So if you see things being clunky, it's because it's on my phone. Okay, so let's poke these ends in. Yeah, yeah, that looks cool. That looks really cool. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bit more as I go around and yeah. So maybe we'll start off right here, kind of close to where we ended. Wait, am I using, oh, oops. I'm using the second yarn rather than this one. I wanted to use the letter yarn. Okay. Actually, no, we'll keep punching. I have an idea of how I want to do a color transition next. Um, okay, here we'll cut our yarn off and then we will transition to this darker yarn and then we'll have kind of have like a bit of a radiating effect, hopefully. Oh, I really hope this works. For those of you that are just tuning in, I'm I'm freehanding this pattern from the Oxford company. If you type exclamation point pattern into the chat, you'll get a direct link to it. But I'm freehanding it in the sense that like I'm making it my own and not really following the like suggested, not the suggested necessarily, but like the original way that it was punched. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. This looks cool. Let's keep going. I'll start here. We're moving into our darkest, second lightest shade of blue here, but I'm still adding this lightest shade in between just so there's like a bit of a it feels more natural. Like the transition is kind of more gradual rather than super forced. So let's push those ends into the other side. And we're gonna do the exact same thing here. Maybe we won't add like a bit of the lightest blue, but we'll definitely punch with second lightest. There we go. Um, Thinking about how I want to do this. Do I want a little, maybe a little bit more, the lightest blue? Okay, there we go. This is promising. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, that looks so cool. That looks awesome. I'm actually like really into this. Like I like this a lot. I'm thinking we can add a little bit more of that lightest shade here, but yeah, we'll see. So let's take a look and see how we're doing for time. Okay, yeah. I think I'm gonna end off right here. Um, I might be back tomorrow or the day after or the day after that. Anytime from tomorrow to Thursday, I'll be back. Um, and we'll probably continue. But before I go, do we want to see how the front looks? Let's take a look. Oh, okay. That's not bad. It has like it has a look to it. It has a look that I'm like really into. Like it's promising. I want to see I want to see how this goes. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty nice. Um I think with that I'm going to sign off, but thanks to everyone that showed up. This was kind of just really impromptu and random. Um but yeah, like I said, we'll probably be back sometime from tomorrow to Thursday. We'll see. Um but yeah, I'll be continuing this off stream, so the next time I go live, it'll probably be like a lot more filled in. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye everyone.